Hello, I'm Steve Hamas, Editor-in-Chief of Molecular Endocrinology. It's been over a year since the current associate editors and I started with the journal, and a lot has happened in that short amount of time. First of all, Molecular Endocrinology became an online-only journal, the first of the Endocrine Society journals to do so. With this transition, we've added some really nice elements. For example, we now have free color. We also now have a featured author section where selected contributors have the opportunity to summarize their work through writing or videos. In addition, we've added monthly editorials that cover the gamut of subjects, from obesity research to tributes to the hardworking SRAs at the NIH to policy changes in science and in medicine. Though in contrast to these hard-hitting editorials, today I'm going to talk about something a little lighter, but I still think important, especially for young investigators. But in order to introduce my topic, I'm going to start with a little story that my father told me when I was a boy and that now I use to torture my own children. And this story involves a man and his talking dog. So there was a man who had a talking dog, and he thought that he could make some money from this. So he rented a hall and he sold tickets and filled it with an audience. And then the big night came, and the man brought the dog onto the stage and he said, "So, how's your day been?" And the dog said, "Rough." And the audience started to boo and hiss. And so the man said, No, wait a minute. I hear you're having some repairs done in your house. There's been some water leakage. Where's it coming from? And the dog said, "Roof." So now the audience booed even more and started to throw fruits and vegetables. And he said, No, wait. Who is the greatest ball player of all time? And the dog said, "Ruth." And so now the audience went crazy and they stormed the stage. And the man had to grab his dog, run out the back of to the stage, hide in the back alley till everybody went by. And then he looked at his dog and he said, "How could you do this to me? This was our big chance." And the dog looked up at him and said, "I don't know. Was it DiMaggio?" So what lessons can we learn from this story? That is, other than the obvious need for my dad and I to find funnier jokes. Well, to me, the message of this story concerns the importance of preparation and presentation. We all like to think that our great data is going to win the day for us in the long run. However, while required to be successful, a good idea and nice data these days are just not enough. We now need to be able to sell our work, and to a large extent ourselves, to our peers and to the NIH. So whenever I meet trainees in my capacity as editor-in-chief, one question that they always ask me is, what's the most important thing to think about when submitting a manuscript to molecular endocrinology? And my message is always the same. You need to have good data, but equally importantly, you need to present it in an organized and clear fashion. So I encourage them to take the extra time to check the grammar and the spelling and make sure that every figure looks beautiful and that it matches the accompanying figure legend. I know this sounds obvious, but you would be amazed how many manuscripts are submitted with 7 figures, but 8-figure legends. The bottom line is that reviewers and editors are busier than they've ever been before. With funding the way it is, we're all constantly writing grants and trying to submit our own papers, while still running a lab, teaching, and keeping up with an unprecedented amount of administrative busy work. So reviewers, who by the way are working for us for free, have little tolerance for manuscripts that are difficult to read or show signs of negligence. And it's not just about papers. We're now forced to spend large amounts of space in our grants emphasizing the significance and innovation of our work, even though it's impossible to predict what truly will be important many years from now. The subjective parts of a grant proposal are slowly starting to exceed the objective parts. And now, the NIH is eliminating the last remnant of objectiveness in a grant proposal by changing the biosketch to a descriptive personal collection of subjective greatest hits. So what can we do about this? Of course, we still need high-quality research and ideas, but we also need to take more time to make sure that the writing is perfect. The data are presented as nicely as possible, and the idea stated as clearly as possible. So having others read over manuscripts and grant proposals is always a good idea. And in fact, some institutions even pay to have papers and grants from their faculty reviewed by outside experts before submission to the NIH or to a journal. With regards to molecular endocrinology, I recommend taking advantage of our free color, not just for pretty pictures, but also for graphs and tables. If color will help make things more clear, then why not use it? In addition, titles and abstracts need to be clearly written without acronyms so that any scientist can follow and understand what you are writing. So why take this extra time? Well, molecular endocrinology has a triage system whereby all manuscripts are quickly reviewed by members of the editorial board before deciding whether to send them out for review. Now, with this triage system, about 35% of manuscripts are sent back without review. Therefore, clarity of titles, abstracts, and data will give your work the best chance of getting to the second stage. I should mention, once the manuscript is sent out for review, molecular endocrinology accepts about 65% of the manuscripts. So submitting here is a nice option. You know within 3 days if your paper is going to be reviewed, and if it is reviewed, the chances of acceptance are actually pretty high. So I encourage everyone to take advantage of your society journals, all of which use similar symptoms. So in closing, these are just a few thoughts about manuscripts and about grant submissions. Again, the main point I'm trying to make is that being a talking dog is nice, but to have success, you really need to be a well-spoken talking dog.